Okay, well, thank you very much. Today is Holy Monday. It's April 14 po. Ito si Nico Fabian. Once again, nandito po sa programa natin, NikTok, The Real Talk with Nico. It will be a very solemn, Holy Week para sa mga Roman Catholic believers, mga Kristiyano po, no? Because today, starting yesterday, Palm Sunday, hanggang next Sunday, that will be Easter Sunday po. Now, we will be observing ang Holy Week po. No? Today is Holy Monday, and then of course we have our Holy Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and then Thursday, Holy Thursday din po, and then Good Friday, and then Sabado po. No? And then we will be celebrating the rising of Jesus Christ from the death po on Sunday. We call it Easter Sunday, wherein we are going to rejoice po. And it will also mark the end of our Lenten season. So, ibig sabihin, tapos na din ang fasting month natin po for 40 days. So, let's all make this Holy Week a very solemn week for all of us po. No? Be it non-believers of our religion, we also expect that you will be cooperating with us as how we cooperated during your fasting month and during your religious observations po or activities. So, tuloy natin po itong programa natin ngayon sa NikTok, The Real Talk with Nico. And before going any further, since I'm talking about Holy Week, I will share with you itong message. Yesterday, I shared with you a message ni President Bongbong Marcos, Holy Week message na po. And today, I'm going to share with you ang Holy Week message ng Vice President natin sa Pilipinas. And I'm referring to no other than Vice President Inday Sara Duterte po. No? Inday Sara Duterte. Let's listen to this video clip po. Ang message ni Inday Sara Duterte, Holy Week message po. Nandito ang Holy Week message. You hold on, ha? You hold on.
Madayaw, ngayong adlaw kaninyong tanan. Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Nakikiisa ako sa sambayanang Pilipino sa pagdarasal, pag-aayuno, at pagbubukas ng ating puso ngayong Semana Santa.
Sandali. Hold on, ha? What happened, ha? Naka-pause man siya. Hold on, ha? Alright.
Madayaw, ngayong adlaw kaninyong tanan. Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Nakikiisa ako sa sambayanang Pilipino sa pagdarasal, pag-aayuno, at pagbubukas ng ating puso.
Hold on po.
Madayaw, ngayong adlaw kaninyong tanan. Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Nakikiisa ako sa sambayanang Pilipino sa pagdarasal, pag-aayuno, at pagbubukas ng ating puso ngayong Semana Santa.
Alright. Medyo something is wrong. I will play this later on. I will play this later on po ang message ni Inday Sara Duterte tungkol sa Holy Week natin. Yesterday, I played itong message ni President Bongbong Marcos, and today, I will be playing itong message ni Inday Sara Duterte. 1,000 apologies. I will check again the video, and later on, I'm going to share the video with you again. In the meantime po, let's continue with our program. Ang mga topics natin for today, Holy Monday, April 14 po, tuloy pa rin ang sabihin natin ng political activities dyan sa Pilipinas. And tuloy pa rin ang mga kandidato, left and right po. They are doing ang campaign sorties nila po from the different corners dyan sa Pilipinas. In fact, nakita ko po ang PDP laban last night. Live yon po. No? Live yon. I managed to monitor ang grand rally nila dyan po sa North Cotabato. sa Kidapawan, no? Ang daming tao, despite that si Mayor ng Davao lang po, Baste, Duterte, pumunta doon po. And ang daming tao po, no? Of course, mayroon mga kandidato ng PDP Laban. And it's not surprising po, na? That every time mayroon, sabihin natin, rally or gathering ang mga PDP Laban na candidates. Especially during the time when nandito pa si Duterte o si Tatay Digong po, 100% po, 200%, 1,000% po ang crowd malaki. Ang crowd ang malaki. So last night din po nakita natin ang daming tao po. That shows that the North Cotabato is a Duterte country. And it also shows that Mindanao and Visayas po, Duterte country din po. And let's not forget that even in Luzon, mayroon na tayong mga, sabi natin, reported video clips, no, from different media mainstream media as well as bloggers sa social media po. Nakita natin na pagdating naman ng mga gatherings ng Duterte, ang daming tao magpunta or they are going to attend or participate sa gatherings ng Duterte, no? Ng Duterte. So what does it mean? Does it mean that Filipinos, the majority of the Filipinos are supporting the Duterte or otherwise? Or otherwise. And many of them, those who participated, they're just hoping. They hope and they're confident. They're confident that the crowd will turn into votes come May 12 po, midterm election. That's how they look at it. And the way how I look at it also, there is a big possibility that this will come into reality po, no? This will come into reality. And talking about turning into votes, no? Nag-umpisa na po ang online na internet voting sa mga overseas Filipinos kahapon pa, April 13. Kahapon pa po, nag-umpisa na. And maganda, sa Singapore, sa iba-ibang, sa Australia, sa mga iba-ibang nasyon, nag-umpisa na po na vote. Ang problema lang po, I don't know, but it's not yet official. It's not yet official. Now, sa mga social media, mga bloggers, no? Ng mga bloggers, na-notice ko po since last night hanggang this morning. Now, I noticed mayroon na yung mga reports supported with video clips na may cheating daw po. No? Ang mga overseas Filipino voters na they're not happy with what happened to them yesterday because some of them already started the voting. Now, when they vote and they check ang ano nila, ang kung kanino sila naglagay ng pangalan ng mga kandidato nila po, apparently, allegedly, reportedly, they claim that different names came out. Yun, mga pangalan na hindi nila niboto. Totoo ba yun o hindi? I don't know. And the Filipinos who claim there is irregularities during the online internet voting which started yesterday po, they are calling the COMELEC Commission on Election, especially to the chairman of COMELEC, si George Garcia, to immediately investigate and kung pwede stop this online voting po because may cheating daw po. Wala pa tayong comments, reaction na coming from COMELEC and hopefully, anytime today, or let's see, sa mga, sabihin natin, newscast sa mamayang gabi po, no? Baka mayroon na silang mga interview kay COMELEC Chairman George Garcia regarding itong allegations or claims from the voters, overseas Filipino voters. And kung sakali may nag-register ng complaint, what are the steps that the COMELEC will be taking or will do? Let's see po, and I will closely monitor itong sitwasyon po because I totally agree. Like me, I am a overseas voter, Filipino voter po, no? Now, I want that what I said, my voice will be heard properly po. Ha? Kung sino man ang mga kandidato ay wrote for senator sa balota ko po, I just want that I'm not being cheated. Importante yun po. No? Important. That is our right. That is our right. So, ohala, I hope that everything will be, sabihin natin, will be clarified by COMELEC. Ano talaga nangyari? Totoo ba yun mga posting sa social media? Totoo ba yun? Mga allegations nila? Or ano? So, let's see. Anyway, let me read you the story. No? The story po regarding, I think, yesterday I already mentioned about this thing. Na umpisa na po ang overseas voting. Ang overseas voting. But anyway, I will read to you again itong news article regarding the start of the overseas internet voting or online voting. Filipinos in various parts of the world started trooping to Philippine embassies and consulates as the month-long overseas voting period began yesterday, Sunday po. 1 month ito, no? 1 month. Starting yesterday, 13th of April, and it will end together din po ang closing of the precincts closing of votings for the midterm elections will be simultaneous with those in the Philippines, and that will be on May 12 at 5 p.m. Now, the Commission on Election, the COMELEC, said the overseas voting period would run until the end of voting hours in the Philippines on May 12. Actually, as early as wee hours of morning, our kababayans abroad cast their votes. COMELEC Chairman George Garcia said in a radio interview yesterday. In Singapore, Garcia said 6 Filipinos cast their votes at the kiosk at the embassy within 10 minutes after the voting period was open. Aside from casting their votes for the May 25 midterm election polls in the embassies and consulates, the COMELEC said registered overseas Filipino voters can also vote online. Voting for our kababayans abroad on the 77 posts is via internet voting, and those in 16 posts is through going to the embassy or the consulates, Garcia noted. Garcia said internet voting abroad is open 24 hours. Open yan po, 24 hours, Meanwhile, the online voting in 77 areas commenced shortly after the test voting period for internet voting ended at midnight on Saturday. Test online voting was initiated to familiarize Filipinos availing themselves of internet voting with the features of system adopted by the commissions for the first time. The first to cast their votes, the COMELEC said, were registered Filipino voters in New Zealand, followed by those from Australia and Guam. There are 1.2 million Filipino voters abroad. Of the number, only 48,000 have enrolled for online voting as of Friday. Medyo no? Medyo maliit. 1.2 million. Tapos, those who availed or enrolled for the online voting as of Friday, last Friday po, 48,000 lang po. And nakita din natin sa mga o sa social media posting na they are also claiming, some are claiming, voters, Filipino voters are claiming that nahirapan sila po sa QR, QR code, no? They cannot get inside sa QR code as advised by the COMELEC sa embasya or sa embassy nila, no? In their respective embassies and consulate office. Yun daw po ang problema. So I hope I hope the COMELEC will also look into this problem that they are facing now. Some of the voters, overseas voters are facing now po, because this will be a 1 month voting period. There are 1.2 million Filipino voters abroad. Of the number, only 48,000 have enrolled for online voting as of Friday. COMELEC spokesman John Rex Londianco said registered Filipino voters abroad still need to enroll to access the internet voting system. John Rex added that the enrollment for the internet voting started last March 20 and will continue until May 12th. He likewise encouraged registered Filipino overseas voters to take advantage of the internet voting system so that they can cast their votes even in the convenience of their homes or wherever they are by using their cell phones or other gadgets. Filipino seafarers, he said, can also participate in overseas voting even while at sea. All right. So yan po. That's the online voting for overseas Filipino workers or voters po, qualified voters po, no? Which started April 13. That is Palm Sunday po. That was yesterday. Yesterday po. April 13, it was a Sunday. And it will continue until May 12. So, wag natin kalimutan, exercise our right to vote. And let us make sure, after we vote, let us check whether totoo ba nag-register talaga ang boto natin. Totoo ba ang mga pangalan na nilagay tayo sa balota natin po, yun din ang na-register sa mga machines po. Sa mga machines, sa COMELEC machines natin po. So that walang yun, walang nakalukuhan. Because mahirap na po, no? We are wasting our time, wasting our money, and it's a violation to our constitutional rights to vote, to my cheating. And mayroon talaga mga speculations, fear that there will be a mass cheating during this midterm election. I hope it will not happen because now everybody, voters as well as non-voters, as long as they're Filipinos, they are monitoring, checking talaga po, and they want to make sure that the election is free from fraud. No? Mahirap na po. And let's see the outcome. And talking about elections, talking about the candidates, ang mga overseas Filipino voters, we can only choose ang mga senador, 12 senators out of the 64, if I'm not mistaken. Out of the 64 aspirants, no? Aspirants. Okay. Now, when we talk about candidates, no? About our candidates po, no? Nakita natin po, mayroon na lumalabas na mga poll surveys, no? Poll surveys from different institutions or groups po, no? Some are commissioned, some are non-commissioned poll survey po. And let me remind each and every one of you, itong mga poll survey is just a guide, no? The real survey will be on May 12. On May 12 po. But dami na mga criticism, left and right na po. Some are positive and some are negative. No? Some are positive and some are negative. But anyway, ipasok natin dito po, ilabas dito po. Ang importante po, we saw, although, no, we cannot really say it's true, but pwede na tayo mag-gauge, maski paano po, no? Kung sino ang most likely to be inside sa Magic 12. Sa Magic 12 po para sa Senado. And of course, sa mga iba-ibang lugar, probinsya dyan po sa Pilipinas, you will have your own local survey being carried out by some people there po, so that it will be a guide. No? So those who are getting good results from the survey, then don't be too confident. Huh? But those who are getting declined results, or ang result nila are declining or are stagnant, then you have to change your campaign strategy po. Mayroon pa tayo, 28, 29 days. If I'm not mistaken, 28 days na lang tayo bago mag-election na po. And it's a long time pa. No? Listen to the candidates and tingnan natin po. After listening to them, ang platform nila and all these things, after sabihin natin, listening to their platforms, then we assess them po. Then we make our decision. Then vote according to our conscience. If they try to be funny with us by trying to buy our votes, para sa akin, although I consider that this is corruption, the act itself is corruption. But get it, sa inyo yan po, and vote according to your conscience po. Those who are using vote buying as a means to win in the election, let's teach them a lesson that Filipinos are not for sale. That Filipinos are not for nothing. We are not for nothing. So, ganun na po. Anyway, let's move on. Itong ano natin this time around, since we are talking about elections. Now, I have prepared some video clips dito po para sa inyo. And most of my video clips po, I will be sharing with you. Most of these are statement coming from political analysts. Political analysts, mga professor ng political science, yan po sa UP, sa mga well-known institutions po. Now, there was some interviews carried out by media personalities dyan sa Pilipinas. And I managed to record it, and let's listen. No? Let's listen na ang mga things that they are saying. They are saying po. And then from there, let's learn something, and then it will help guide us po sa decision making when we go to the polls on May 12th. On May 12th po. So, let's start on the sandali. Let's start with ano ito? I will arrange muna. Mas maganda siguro, or we can give you a full screen ba? Testing natin po kung pwede tayo mag-full screen. Okay, now here is the first video clip that I want to share with you, and as what I said, I'm talking about mga political analysts po, and I am referring to three political analysts, si Eris Arugay, mayroon tayo Dennis Coronacion, and si Professor Eric De Torre. Ito po. Now, I will share with you these clippings. Para at least you have an idea. Hold on, So far, so good. We look at the situation, Mindanao and Visayas. It seems that Duterte country na po. Whether they can maintain it as a Duterte country hanggang May 12, let's see. Let's see po. Alright. First video clip that I'm going to share with you, ito po. Kay, kanina ba ito? Hold on. We have to do it official muna tayo. Official muna tayo. Ang alright. Andito po. 159. Sandali, asan yun? 159. 159, mayroon tayong 159. Alright. Andito po. 159. Ito po. Let's listen to this.
Jean Franco. And, the way that we intend to look at it as of this point in time is that there's really a shift in terms of the momentum precisely because of the mode or the manner by which, what happened during the arrest of the former President Rodrigo Duterte. And what is actually very challenging right now is how the public would be able to shift the discourse, specifically on issue-based or programmatic, manner by which they demand candidates, be it from the national down to the local level. As you can see, in the national level, the manner or the preference seems to be
This
based
is
on the
Professor Eric Duterte.
Marcos, conflict or challenge. So, yun yung medyo hamon sa ating mga botante ngayon kung paano ibabalik yung diskurso pagdating doon sa pagdemand. Ano ba yung plataforma ng gobyerno? Ano ba yung legislative agenda ng ating mga tumatakbong kandidato lalo na sa pagkasenador?
And yun na nga, Prof, I mean, would you agree when they say that itong aresto nga ni former President Rodrigo Duterte has already become a central issue dito sa ating midterm elections?
Yes, kitang-kita natin yan nung nakaraang dalawang survey. Biglang umangat na yung standing ni Senador Bongo. Umangat na rin din yung posisyon ni Senator Bato de la Rosa. And kung mapapansin din natin ay may posibilidad din na pumasok yung mga nasa ibaba before na hindi naman napapansin. That, tulad ni Congressman Rodante Marcoleta na may tsansa. Ganun din pagdating doon sa mga ibabang kandidato ng PDP na kung saan very much associated sa partido ng former President Rodrigo Duterte. Other brokers.
Alright, John, narinig niyo po ang boses ni Professor Eric Duterte. Professor Eric Duterte. Next video clip I'm going to share with you ay ito po. Ang next is saan to ha? Next is 159, 153. Saan ang 153? 153 and this is an interview. This is an interview, no? Interview ito. Hindi. Nandito pa po. Mayroon pa tayo dito. Isa. Si Professor Eric Duterte pa rin po. Let's listen to this.
Have begun casting their votes for Bilang Pilipino 2025. Internet voting started yesterday, Sunday, for over 1.2 million Filipinos abroad, which will last until the end of voting hours in the Philippines on May 12. Comelec Chairman George Garcia said that as of Friday, only about 48,000 have enrolled for internet voting. The whole body initiated a test online voting to familiarize overseas voters of this feature, a system that the Comelec first adopted this election cycle. And with less than 30 days before the election day, political analysts say the Senate race is becoming increasingly unpredictable. USC Department of Political Science Chairman Professor Dennis Coronacion told the big story that allies of former President Rodrigo Duterte appear to be gaining momentum. This as they benefit from the sympathy generated by recent events involving the former president.
I think it's quite obvious that considering the coincidence, these big gainers achieved their current position right after, the arrest of the former president. And this never happened before in the past surveys, except of course in the case of Senator Bongo. I think he was already on the number one position in the Opta survey in February.
Meanwhile, in an interview with 1PH, sa totoo lang, UP Political Science Professor Jean Encinas Franco said she believes that voters are still looking for substance among candidates.
I'm very sure meron pa rin nag-iisip ng ganun. Kaya lang, sa kasalukuyan, as the surveys reflect, parang hindi nagmamatch. Pero, hope springs eternal. Snapshot lang naman ito nung kung kailan sila tinanong, pwede kinabukasan, meron silang nakilalang na kampanya at na gusto makila. So, magbago mga isip nila. So ito yung pwedeng mangyari.
And now let's get more insights this Monday.
Alright, yan po. Si Franco, and then we have Professor Eric De Torre and si Dennis Coronacion. Yan mga political analysts natin po dyan sa Pilipinas. And you heard anong mga observations nila po. So this time around, I'm going to share with you another series of video clips po. No? This is the interview between or carried out by a very known personality, media personality natin po dyan sa Pilipinas, and I'm referring to Karen Davila. And she is interviewing itong political analyst din po from UP Department ng Polisay. Siya ang chairman, and I'm referring to Eris Arugay. Si Eris Arugay. Nandito po, let's listen to this.
In the past, Erwin Tulfo was the undisputed #1 candidate for the midterm elections. Next is Erwin Tulfo and Bongo were a statistical tie. No longer, Bongo is #1. Erwin Tulfo is declining. He's declined by 3 points. So that's a shift in the #1 spot. Do you see that as Duterte related?
Possibly, but Karen, let's remember, no? Unless really you're able to draw on a huge voter base and you're able to really increase yung market vote na tinatawag natin. Kasi there are two. There's a market vote and a command vote. Command vote, ito yung baluarte mo. These are your really solid supporters. Market vote is the one that you're trying to convince and to get. If Erwin Tulfo has been #1 for the longest time, mas mahirap ma-maintain yun eh. The momentum tends to decline, no? And we're also talking about resources.
And then you consistently have a story during the campaign period, right? Okay,
Right.
go on.
Yeah, and let's remember that in senatorial elections is also a battle for resources. So in order
Not necessarily, Robin Padilla was #1.
well, resources in terms of popularity, I mean, in many kinds. So I do think that the surge of Bongo, for example, no, has a lot of possibility in terms of explanation. He's an incumbent, no, he's able to implement.
We have with us again UP Department.
Alright, yan po. No? And another next video clip is still the same person. Anong queue number niya is 153. Tingnan natin. Okay, 153. Alright, saan ang 153 ha? Hold on. 153. Tapos na yata ang 153 natin eh. We have 153, 159. And then 159. Hold on, 159. And then, so, 153 tapos na. So, this one. Okay. Let me show you another one from Karen Davila.
5, you have Duterte allies at a certain number, and then now they've gained ground. So, for example, you have Bongo, as I said, at #1, although he was always high-ranking because the Malasakit centers were credited to him. There are 163 Malasakit centers in the Philippines, but let me read the numbers to you. Okay, you have Bongo now at #1, Erwin Tulfo at #2 with a decline, but Bato de la Rosa has actually increased to now 42% of Filipino respondents supporting him. He's gotten up in the survey to #5 or 6, unlike in the past, where he was a few months ago at 10 or 11, 9 to 11, right? So, Bato de la Rosa has increased dramatically, right? So that's one. And then you even have Philip Salvador, who at one point was nowhere in the top 20, and suddenly he is at the
Duterte magic. As I've said, that it tends to be sticky, and this is what perhaps the fourth electoral cycle in which the Duterte magic since 2016 will be configuring our elections. In terms of Bato de la Rosa in the upsurge, that might have Duterte might have something to do with that, but we also know that Senator de la Rosa has been in the news cycle almost every day.
But his news cycle every day is about Duterte.
That's right,
And
definitely.
all he does defends Duterte.
And his looming arrest. So De La Rosa also provides so much exposure for himself in the news cycle. Philip Salvador, there's name recall. Which of course is not
I think that's
necessary.
simplifying it, because what about Ivy Marcos? She is in the news cycle every day, holding hearings every day, and yet she is up in the Magic 12.
That's right. Senator Marcos is an interesting case because we know that in the earlier survey, she's been, I think the highest is around number 4, number 5. There are surveys last year, and then right now she's barely making it to the top 16 in some surveys. I think this has something to do with her strategy in the beginning of hedging. Like she's trying to get as many, hoping, I think, to secure the top spot, because Karen, the midterm senatorial top spot historically in Philippine politics is quite powerful. That could catapult you to a presidential candidacy in some cases. But her hedging behavior doesn't seem to have paid off. In terms of, she was trying to get votes from both, but this was pre-alliance breakup. And once the alliances unraveled, she wasn't seen anymore as a consensus unifying candidate of both camps, but someone who there's some level of doubt and some level of whether why would we throw our support to you? You're a Marcos if you're a Duterte supporter, and if you're a Marcos supporter, why are you throwing your support at the Dutertes when
Ang
the
tawag
line?
in Filipino, palimpig. To simplify, ang tanong ko sa iyo, does that matter to the Filipino? Because Senator Amy Marcos, ang tingin ng ilan, balimping ka, namamangka sa dalawang ilog. I'm stating comments from social media. This is not my opinion in any way. Senator Francis Tolentino, by the way, who has a track record, these two candidates in the Senate, Amy Marcos and Francis Tolentino. Tolentino just recently landmark clause, the Maritime Zones Act, and yet from the midterm elections na nakapasok siya during Duterte, Duterte's command votes, his order, na gusto ko yung 30 kandidato makapasok. Sinabihan niya ang mga lokal, Bongo, Bato, and Tolentino, pasok lahat sila. And now Tolentino is so far off the 12th. Kahit anong ilan, iniwan mo si Duterte. Same story. What are your thoughts?
Right. Because at the moment, the campaign and perhaps the Philippine political landscape is highly polarized. And therefore, candidates that seem to be yung sinasabi mong namamangka sa dalawang ilog, that only works if there's no polarization. But right now, there's significant polarization amplified by social media, trolls on one end versus trolls of the other camp. Candidates who try to frame their campaign as unifiers are the ones getting punished in the surveys. So I think that explains it. No, if the hypothetical, Karen, is that if the alliance is still intact, the campaign strategy would have worked. But the problem is, it's a totally different political terrain and landscape for this midterm elections in 2025.
That's it. Yun po. You heard it from political analyst, ang chairman ng UP, the Department of Political Science po, si Eris Arugay. Now, they also touch, si Miss Karen Davila also touch or raise a question on the, nakita ninyo, I don't know if you saw, last night ba or this morning, or just recently, ang picture with Inday Sara Duterte together with Camille Villar, raising the hands. Ibig sabihin ba yun, nag-endorse na si Inday Sara kay Camille Villar? Congresswoman Camille Villar, who is now aspiring to be a senator come May 12 midterm election. Nag-endorse ba yun? Or does it mean also Camille Villar already left the Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas or ang grupo, ang team ni Bongbong Marcos, President Bongbong Marcos po. Because as what we know, ang kapatid niya, si Super Ate Amy Marcos already left the group and she's now independent. And mayroon din tayo nakita, just recently, nag-raise ang kamay si Senator at saka chairman ng PDP Laban, si Ruben Padilla, Senator Ruben Padilla, ang kamay ni Amy Marcos. Does it mean that the PDP Laban already officially accepted Senator Amy Marcos as one of the candidates? One of their candidates. So, these are the things ngayon nakikita natin sa social media po and dami po, left and right din po ang mga comments ng mga netizens. No? And wala pa tayong mga official reaction na coming from Inday Sara Duterte kung ano talaga ba ibig sabihin when she made the sign of a Duterte sign together with Senator Amy Marcos, raised the hand of Amy Marcos. Kasi if you look at the situation now, medyo dropping ang rating sa placing ng Magic 12 si Senator Amy Marcos. But on the other side, if you look at her, she is the one who is really pushing for the investigation of probe itong whether there was a violations on the arrest of or handing over of Tatay Digong dyan po sa custody of the ICC. So, hot issue ito po. And is it a part of her political strategy, campaign strategy to gain support? As what she said, si Senator Amy Marcos was saying, kung maybe she can get some support from the Marcos side because she is a Marcos. Mayroon pa siyang support that she became the governor sa lugar nila. And identified din siya doon kay Inday Sara as a good friend of Inday Sara po. And what she's doing now, some of them, maybe not all, but some, they appreciated what Senator Amy Marcos is doing. Especially itong Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, which is, she is chairing, no? Ang, kung may mga violations ba, the government violated some policies or sabihin natin laws dyan po in the way Tatay Digong was turned over or brought out from the country and turned over custody to the ICC or International Criminal Court. Nandito po, let's listen. Let's listen to the conversation between political analyst Eris Arugay and Karen Davila. You all done po, nandito. You all done, I will share with you 206. Ito po.
Villar, do you think this will be a major factor? I mean, you have essentially, in recent history, Camille Villar is struggling the most compared to her mother and her brother Mark Villar. She is struggling the most to stay in the Magic 12. In many surveys, she is out of the Magic 12. Other than the family's resources, financial resources, will a Sara Duterte endorsement kick her up to the Magic 12?
Right. The advantage of Camille Villar compared to Amy Marcos is that she's able to make a more convincing case to the Duterte side for support. Unless Amy Marcos changes her surname, her getting supporters on the Duterte camp at the moment seem to be really a hard sell. But for Camille Villar, I think, in her calculation, I have more of an ability to present myself as someone that could get Duterte supporters because in terms of my dynasty's record of supporting Duterte, it seemed to be more consistent. And I don't have that baggage of really being affiliated with the Marcoses. So I think this is a highly calculated strategy down the line because, Karen, this is a highly competitive senatorial elections. We might see a different Magic 12, Magic 16 every week from now until the elections and even in the final outcome. So senatorial candidates, particularly those at the bottom of the Magic 12 to 16, are trying to use everything that they have, that they could potentially mobilize in order to just, get into the 12 because I imagine it will really be tight. It might be a matter of thousands. Particularly in the top 12, 13, 14, etc.
All right, that's it. I totally agree. Yeah, if we are going to compare between Senator Amy Marcos and Congresswoman aspiring to be a senator, si Camille Villar, mas madali po makuha ng suporta si Camille Villar sa mga suporte or Duterte supporters po dahil nakita na nila from the father, the mother, and the brother na suporta talaga sila ni Tatay Digong or mga Duterte o sa Duterte clan. Samantala, ito si Amy Marcos, the mere fact that she's carrying the surname of Marcos, yan po, may malaking duda po. Sabi nga, balimbing daw si Senator Amy Marcos and what she's doing now, it gives another message to those who doubt her loyalty or friendship between Inday Sara Duterte. It is erasing a little bit, no? Para sa akin lang, no? Na what she's doing is good now because she shows concern about what happened to Tatay Digong. Instead of supporting talaga, all out talaga siya sa kapatid niya. The only thing some people are not happy is that si Senator Amy Marcos, there was a clamor from the supporters of Duterte or Tatay Digong. They are hoping that Senator Amy Marcos will be truly open when it comes to the issue of his young or her younger brother, who is now the president of the Philippines, using illegal drugs or not po. No? And alam na natin, between these two, si Bongbong at saka si Amy, alam na natin po, matagal na they don't talk. They only talk dyan po sa social media or sa mga news. No? You see them, they exchange words, no? Mga question and answers, then they comment, they react. No? But personally, physically po, as what si Senator Amy Marcos was saying, matagal na po, she did not talk to her younger brother, si President Bongbong Marcos. Alright? President Bongbong. Okay, mayroon pa tayo isang video clip dito po. And this time around, Karen Davila and Eris Arugay is talking about itong mga senatoriables natin, mga kandidato po. No? Some are entertainers, media personalities, no? And si Karen was asking a reaction coming from Eris, So let's listen to this po. I think this will be my final video that I have prepared for all of you. But maganda ito po. Let's listen to this. Let's listen to this. Sandali, ha?
You have two Tulfos, right? Essentially, I mean,
You do have Erwin Tulfo, who's been in public service. He was in Congress. But essentially, their background would be media. Next, you have Willie Revillame, background entertainment, right? Then you have Philip Salvador, who's 11 to 17, background entertainment. And then the others that are already re-electionists, essentially, still have some form of entertainment background. Bong Revilla, Lito Lapid. If you look at it, Tito Soto, although he became Senate President, but a lot of them really come from media of some sort. What does this say about the future of the Senate in this country?
Right. Karen, we can really compare if we compare the first senators of the Republic to the current crop, we really see the gap. There are different explanations here. I think the first is that voters have changed their criteria for selecting senators. They used to, sometimes there even seems to be an informal requirement of some legal training. But in fact, there were very few lawyers in the Magic 12, even in the Magic 16. This has something to do with the democratization of, in a way, of who qualifies as a senator. Now, what is the impact of that? Is that we might have, this has implications on the ability of the Senate in terms of dispensing its functions, in terms of the quality of legislation that it will pass, in terms of its ability to check executive power, but also the influx of celebrities has a deeper impact in, I think, the institutional integrity and quality of the Senate.
All right, that's it. Narinig niyo po, no? Very clear. So how do you look at it? How do you look at it? Huh? How do you look at it? Ano kaya mangyari kung majority o karamihan ng mga senator natin are in the entertainment, coming from the entertainment business, sa media, no? And look at now, we have like Willie Villame, Tito Soto sa Itbulaga, we have Philip Salvador, we have Lito Lapid, na? Itong mga Tulfo, nasa media din yung dalawa, tatlo na sila yun, si Rafi, si Ben, at si Erwin. See? So, sino pa? Mga media personalities. No? Nandyan. Of course, si Senator Legarda is also once a media personality. No? Sino pa ba? So, dami po. So, what will happen to the Senate? And you heard a word or two coming from a political analyst, ang opinion niya and reaction niya sa issue na ito. So, anyway, dyan na po ang sitwasyon ngayon po sa race sa Senado. Kailangan tayo po 12 new senators. 12 new senators po. 12 new senators. And let's see po what will happen sa May 12. Ongoing na ang online, internet voting, but may problema dyan, may mga complaints dyan po, and we hope that the COMELEC, spearheaded by Chairman George Garcia, will not close one eye or close his ears itong sa mga complaints, complaints or allegations po. No? So-called complaints and allegations po. I hope it's not true. But in the event it came out true, then ano kaya po? As early as now, kung totoo man ito po, you better stop itong online po. Because we voters, we Filipinos, we don't want that our votes will or you will cheat us. No? Mahalaga sa amin ang boto namin po. And this is the reason why we are participating, or the country is having, as a democratic country, we are having regular elections po every 3 years, every 6 years po for president and vice president. So yun po. I hope whatever problems you are facing now, as soon as possible, mayroon pa tayong 28 days. I hope the authorities are concerned will find a best solution to the allegations or problems mo kung sakali mayroon. And to the voters, kaya sa akin po, ako, I did not vote yet. I'm still waiting. Last minute na ako po, no? And to the voters, I would like to say, make a good decision ngayon po. Vote according to your conscience. We are not for sales. We are not for sales. We have passed so many elections already. And we have seen them, how they perform. Maybe it's about time now to give a chance to neophytes. But lahat naman po, ang big two political parties dyan sa Pilipinas po, everybody is talking about straight votes. Hindi na individual, straight votes na sila ngayon po. No? Why they want the straight votes? Para okay daw, walang problema na. When they pass bills or laws, everybody will support and they will have the number for approving whatever bills or laws that they want to pass. Kasi kung divided, mahirap na po. No? PDP Laban, Tatay Digong is appealing to the Filipinos. Straight vote daw tayo po sa mga kandidato ng PDP Laban. One reason is para pagdating ang impeachment trial ni Sara Duterte, safe si Sara Duterte. Kung safe siya sa impeachment trial, ibig sabihin ang chances niya to be or to participate dito po sa scheduled 2028 na presidential election, wala siyang problema, and most likely based on surveys ngayon po, no? Clamor ng mga Filipinos ngayon po, if the election, presidential election will be held today po, 100% po si Inday Sara Duterte will be the president, next president of the Philippines. But since this is politics, and nakikita natin po, mayroon din mga ambisyon ng mga ibang kandidato. They also want to be, and that's the reason why now, as early as now, they want to cut ang Duterte na po. Cut si Inday Sara Duterte. So, yun ang sitwasyon po. Si Bongbong Marcos naman was saying, may mga plano siya, ang alyansa ng Bagong Pilipinas, may mga plano siya to level up, improve the standard of living of the Filipinos. Tapi, we have to vote straight sa mga kandidato niya para walang problema. Para all these programs nila will be implemented without much problems, without much hassles, no? Or without much sabihin natin mga objections coming from the other side. So kailangan daw po straight vote talaga. So mayroon sila earlier, mayroon silang 12 candidates, kompleto sila, but Senator Amy Marcos already left. Mayroon na lang silang 11, and mayroon na itong issue na sino ito? Si Senator Camille, Senator, or would-be Senator Camille Villar, na mayroon na siyang picture together with Inday Sara Duterte. So ano talaga yon? What is the truth on it? Mayroon ba talaga sabihin natin endorsement made by Inday Sara Duterte? Inday Sara Duterte, or ano? Anong ibig sabihin yon? Picture na yon. Anong ibig sabihin yung picture na yon? Anyway, let's see. Tingnan natin, what will happen. Mayroon pa tayong 28 days pa po. 28 days pa. So, with this, siguro hanggang dito na lang po ang NikTok, the Real Talk with Nico. And once again, let us make this week a really holy week for the faithfuls embracing the Roman Catholic faith, ang mga Kristiyano po. No? 1 week ito, today is Holy Monday, then we have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday must be a very solemn Thursday ito po. And then we are going to enter Good Friday, wherein our Savior Jesus Christ will be crucified. And then Vigil, Saturday Vigil, and then Sunday, next Sunday will be Easter Sunday, wherein we'll be rejoicing for the resurrection of our Savior, Jesus Christ. So, with this, all the best sa mga kababayan ko dito po sa Malaysia, no? Sa West Malaysia, sa East Malaysia, mayroon tayong dalawang states, Sabah and Sarawak. And we have a lot of Filipinos also in Sabah and Sarawak. And let's do our things properly. Let us not offend our host country, ang mga Malaysians, ang mga Sabahans, ang mga Sarawakians. Let's do our job properly, work properly, not only to have income or future promotions po, but also that's one way of showing that we appreciate, we are grateful that ang Malaysian host natin po accepted us as to work in this country. A beautiful country, peaceful, and compared to the Philippines, I'm sorry to say, at least income-wise, mas maganda ang income. If you're working in the Philippines compared dito sa Malaysia, mas maganda pa rin ang income. And atmosphere-wise, maganda din po. And anyway, Philippines is still the best place for all Filipinos. Temporarily, trabaho tayo sa labas. But it is our dream that someday after achieving our goals and objectives, the reason why we went out and worked outside the Philippines, mayroon din tayo mga dreams and aspirations po, mga plano natin po, na we go back to the Philippines. And whatever sacrifices we did will be paid for. Ang mga loved ones natin will be a good citizen, no? And they will have a better life because of our sacrifices dito sa labas. We are working as overseas Filipino workers po. So, with this, once again, I would like to say to all of you, thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines, God bless us all. I love you and see you tomorrow. Bye.